Good afternoon, Deneen Shoemaker with your 420 Minute. So this is the first Sunday in Lent, and Lent is an important time for Christians, for people who follow Jesus. It's historically been a Catholic observation, more or less, a time of fasting and prayer and penance in order to grow closer to God. I started observing Lent, the action of either giving something up or taking something on in order to grow closer to God. It's probably 10 or more years ago now. Last year, I felt very strongly in my spirit that God was asking me to slow down. In fact, I believe I even put it on a 420 minute. To spend more time in prayer and devotion. And I chose to basically blow Lent off last year. I'm not really sure why. I think I thought maybe I didn't need it. Or perhaps maybe I felt that God was kind of making me do something or forcing me to follow some sort of rule. I've always been one of those people that likes to rebel against those sorts of things. So I'm not really sure, but what I know is that this has been the worst year in my life to date, for sure. And I don't believe that it's been the worst year because I didn't follow what God, was making me do. I believe it was the worst year because I chose to ignore what my Heavenly Father knew I needed so that I could survive this next year with much less damage to my soul. I don't know if that makes any sense. I just believe very strongly that if I would have taken the time that I needed last year in prayer and in just setting that time aside where I could have this communication that I normally enjoy between God and myself, I could experience that at a greater level. I think it would have kept me from doing a lot of the stupid things that I did and making some of the poor choices that I made. But because I chose to ignore it and not follow it, we'll never know. Here's the thing I want to make sure I impress upon you today. I haven't suffered the worst year of my life because God punished me because I didn't do something God wanted me to do. Okay? Big distinction there. I'm suffering the consequences of my choices, and my choices were not centered in God or in any kind of righteousness. And because of those choices of my own free will, I now have placed myself really in a situation where I was open to hurt and pain and possibly even, the enemy, if you will, being stronger in my life than God was, if that makes any sense. So this year, I have decided that I'm taking Lent very seriously, and I know that I've been asked again to slow down and to regroup and spend more time in fasting. No, that's not true. I wasn't asked to fast. I've pretty much been fasting for a year. Anyway, I feel like I've been asked to spend more time in prayer, to spend more time in devotion, to spend more time in quietness with the Spirit. And so I am doing that this year. And I don't know what's going to come of it. It's going to be interesting, and I'll keep talking with you about that. I just really wanted to make sure to make the distinction, though, that God does not punish us because we don't follow rules. I really believe a good parent punishes their child because they know what's best for the child, because they know what will prosper that child, what will help that child to be the best and the fullest that that child can be when they grow up, or when they're away from you, if you will. I think that's all God is asking of us too. And I'd just like to end with Psalm 139, verses 23 and 24. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. Point out anything in me that offends you, and lead me along the path of everlasting life. Because when we make bad choices, that road to everlasting life can be very bumpy and fraught with heartache. So, hope this has been helpful. I hope you have a great week. Grace and peace.